So when it comes to belief, this is something that I'm sure was covered before, but basically it's the belief that a person must have, a believer, a Muslim must have in the heart, as I said earlier, and also profess it and live that message to God. And this is the core, this is the fundamental of the belief, is we must believe in one God. And when we say one God, what Muslims say is وَحْدَهُ لَا شَرِيكَ لَهُ, that God is one without any form or shape of a partner. So to have firm belief in this God. And then obviously it goes on to the teaching where Muhammad, as Muslims believe, is God's final messenger. And then we have certain other beliefs that were talked about, I'm sure, by Imam Slimi in the previous session, regarding angels, regarding various messengers, including the perspective that Muslims have. We believe Jesus is also a holy person who's not God, according to Muslims, but he has been sent down with a message as a prophet, and Moses, and so many others. And also part of this belief is the belief of the Day of Judgment, the Day of Reckoning, meaning that God will definitely resurrect us as human beings and we will be accountable to God. And then there's the belief in relation to destiny, that anything that's positive or negative that happens, ultimately it is controlled and decreed by God. God has given us a power of choice, and we can use that power to choose to do certain things. Okay, we could have been at home watching the news, okay, doing something, but we chose to be here. Okay, so this is from that power of choice that God gave us. Okay, there's some things that we have no control over. So the Muslim belief in relation to destiny is God will question us on the day of resurrection about the choices we make where God has given us power to choose. But if there's no power to choose, then God will not hold us accountable for that. So for example, God will not ask us, why did it snow in Toronto? But God will ask us, how did we use our time? What did we do with the blessings that we had? So this is the concept of the Day of Judgment and also destiny. And then obviously life after death. As Muslims, we believe we are here for a temporary period of time and we return to God. We believe the worldview of a Muslim is this is not the end of life. Rather, life continues after death, and it's the return towards God. So that was the basics regarding belief, and I didn't want to emphasize too much there because I'm sure it was covered in the previous sessions. Also, this specific area was definitely covered, as I see it was the title for the previous session, the pillars of Islam. So the acts of worship that I'm referring to here, which is the second component of the Sharia, is basically the 5 pillars of Islam. So the 5 pillars, does anyone recall them from the previous session? Fasting, excellent. Anyone else? Hajj, pilgrimage, that's 2 already, you got 3 left. Zakat, so that's, zakat is what? Charity, mandatory charity. So we got 2 left. The testimony, to say the testimony, the shahada. And we got 1 more left. Prayer. Good, you guys are good. Okay, so that's what we have here. So basically it's the 5 pillars of Islam. Okay, we have mandatory charity in it, we have the fasting in it, we have the pilgrimage. And I already referred to the shahada, that has testimony, that everything begins with the belief. Okay, now this is where I want to really get into the discussion here, because how do Muslims live that life? If we notice, the aspect of faith is hidden. Okay, if someone is not dressed like me, okay, just a normal Muslim who's in a business world or outside or at school or in a lawyer's office, not dressed like me, sometimes we can't even tell if that person is a Muslim. Because belief is something that is hidden, it's concealed. And this is why we can't judge anyone's belief. So when it comes to actions, that's when things become apparent. So the way I dress, the way I do dealings, the way I purchase a home, the way I drive. These are all actions, and as I said earlier at the beginning, Islam dictates, the Sharia dictates to the believer how to do everything in life. So one specific component of the Sharia or the religion of Islam, in a practical sense, living the message of Islam, is whenever we do any form of transactions, we need to always understand that there's another party involved. And there are rights, there are obligations, and there are also responsibilities. So in terms of the transactions, the other party has to always be taken into consideration. So specifically when it comes to monetary transactions, when it comes to purchasing a home, when it comes to buying something from the supermarket, there are specific instructions, and they're quite detailed. I would probably need a few hours, but I'm just going to give you some synopsis of some of the rulings in relation to business and trade or commerce. Okay, so for example, offer and acceptance. This is one thing that is emphasized by the Prophet Muhammad. If I want to sell this product, okay, I need to offer it to someone, and that customer or that client needs to accept it. I can't force someone to buy this. There has to be offer and acceptance. In modern day, we walk into a supermarket, for example, or a big box store, we pick something up and we take it to the till. So what's happening there is I am accepting the offer that the store has made. The store has laid out the products and made the offer. Come and buy our products. So that's the offer. Now when we go pick up that product, we're basically accepting it. And when I put it onto the till, then I'm making an agreement that you are selling it for $5. I have agreed and I'm purchasing it, and here's the $5. So offer and acceptance is necessary. Another principle is merchandise must be pure and lawful. So the Quran speaks about things that are permissible for Muslims, and there are certain things that are impermissible for Muslims. For example, practicing Muslims are not supposed to be drinking alcohol or wine. So anything that is not permissible for me, I cannot purchase it or sell it. So this is why a practicing Muslim wouldn't open an LCBO. So I'm giving you a practical example of how Muslims live the message in modern day. Okay? Practicing Muslims are not allowed to play the lottery. So a practicing Muslim will not even accept any form of an offer of playing the lottery, no matter how many zeros are there. Okay? So I'm just giving you some practical examples. Another aspect of it is that the merchandise or the commodity must be definite. I can't say, you know what, I'm selling you all those birds that are flying around in the sky. I don't even know if I can catch those birds. So how can I sell them to you? What's happening is that I'm creating a dispute here. Because if I'm unable to catch those birds and the client comes along and I don't have the birds, I'm creating a dispute. So we cannot sell or we cannot transact something that is ambiguous. It has to be definite. If I take a loan, the timing must be specified. The timing must be specified. The amount that was borrowed, it has to be clear. There should be contracts. There should be witnesses. And all of this is based on one principle: no ambiguity in a transaction. I can't say, you know what, you're my buddy, you can owe me the money whenever you feel like it. For a practicing Muslim, this is not acceptable. I have to specify a time and a date, whether it be next week, whether it be 2 years down the road or more. Okay, because it creates ambiguity. Let me give you an example. If I say, okay, here's the money, you can take it, give it to me whenever you want. Now, in my mind, it might be he's going to give it to me in a month. In his mind, it's 5 years. So when it creates ambiguity, it's going to cause a problem. So to avoid all forms of ambiguity, disputes, argumentation, when you specify things, it becomes clear. And many of these things in modern day, they've already been put in place, so it becomes easy. So you purchase something from a big box store, you have a receipt, the date is there, the product, name, number, everything's there. So these are all Islamic injunctions. The longest verse of the Quran, it's not about God. It's not about prayer. It's about dealing with people in a just manner in business transactions.